Studying the #1 overall draft pick Macklin Celebrini in this video is going to help you improve your decision making and goal scoring by allowing you to compare your choices and mental pathways to the best overall prospect that is considered to be the top in his age group in way more depth than most analysts and scouts would ever get into, giving you the deep insights and small, manageable, progressive steps to take in between where you are currently and where you want to be. And these manageable steps are blueprints that I help my D1 pro and high level junior clients with, but you can study them also to get closer to where you want to end up no matter what point in your career that you're at right now. And the #1 way you can generate more chances like Celebrini is through better off puck movement and positioning. Most players think there is a single location to be in every given situation, overlooking the fact that where you go, defenders often follow. And as this rush develops, Celebrini finds himself in the traffic of the middle of the ice. Studying his tendencies, I know he purposefully skates back post, then shoots near post where the pass is likely going to appear. And this makes use of something you need to utilize, which is off-puck movement, deception, and manipulation, because the best players rarely make plays after catching a pass flat-footed. How many one-on-one battles would you win if you added 1, 2, or 3 strides of speed into them? From tipping pucks to getting open backdoor. Open ice away from the puck expires and goes bad if you stay there too long. This can be a difficult balance to strike when not playing with the highest quality of teammates, which is a problem Celebrini doesn't have to deal with right now. Here is the key to off-puck positioning, and we can visualize it right now. The closer Celebrini is to the passer, the less runway he has to alter his route, and the further out he is, the larger range he has to drift, while still being in a relatively good position. And if he is ready to burst into the opening by building up speed, he can easily make up territory. A simple way of thinking of this is remembering that you have more line of sight out of a window when you are further away from it. And again, we can see these strategies are not specific to any location on the ice, because Celebrini uses the blind spot of the defender to change direction, creating a deceptive message and keeping the open space safe while the pass comes in. Remaining away from the window of space allows him more leeway than if he got really close. Not to mention the obvious benefits of distance away from the defenders. Even on the power play, staying in the window but away from it gives so many advantages. Here we can see Celebrini turn this position into momentum towards his teammate that he was already anticipating sending a pass to. And these off-puck movement strategies help him with his unique release patterns that usually take pros a few years in their careers to develop. Celebrini has a versatile release off his inside leg, allowing him to seemingly bend shots around defenders that are attempting to block those shots. There is a clear trend of opponents preparing to block shots, but Celebrini firing it before they are in a fully committed position. This is only possible when you can fire shots off both feet while moving in linear and lateral directions, and the way you achieve this is by recruiting a limited amount of muscles to your shot while you practice it in your driveway, garage, or shooting range. And the reason this works because your body can be in hundreds of different configurations while still being able to get a good shot off. You see, when you recruit different muscles in a specific configuration, it fires much like a chain. And if one part of that lengthy chain is in a different configuration, the next link doesn't know how to get back on track. But the more of a closed loop sort of shorter track of necessary recruited muscles you need, the more various positions you can release in. And this closed loop allows you to handle in tight pressure filled dekes and movements like Celebrini does here. You see, the less muscles you need to complete an action like catching a pass, the more you can use for adapting to unforeseen circumstances, and under pressure you don't feel like you have to get 100 different little things perfect. You can just optimize the 5 things or so you need to take a good shot. Celebrini gathers this puck and fakes towards the point, drawing the Notre Dame winger up high, and due to his believable direction of travel towards the goal line, the center angles too harshly, opening up the middle of the ice. A really important concept for you to understand is that the stick handles of your one-on-one moves are the last part of your deke. Celebrini forces this player to bite mostly due to his skating route. And you can see here against UMass Lowell that body language and stick handles are a part of deception, but they are the icing on the cake, so to speak. A way I like to think of it as open ice deception and in tight deception. What tools are sending what messages at what times and for how long? If you're telegraphing a direction of travel with your skating, no amount of stick handles can make up for that. And if you watch Celebrini in slow motion cutting through these two U-Lowell defenders, you can nearly see the physical reaction the defender has to the skating direction coming right towards him. So for you, a developing prospect who is watching this video, try to use your hands as the last resort to dodge a panicked poke check and cause that panic with your skating direction rather than some silly stick handle with a mixture of faulty body language. There are so many benefits of using your skating route as the deception source rather than your hands. You won't fully commit yourself to things too early, and you'll be able to capitalize on backed up defenders like in this example. I like to notice themes and styles of how players accomplish certain things, and Celebrini does something that almost every player is told to do, which is go to the net. So I am not going to make this video about how you should go to the net too. And from watching all these center lane finishes, it is clear that speed is required, but also a bit of off-puck movement deception to get open net front as well as calm body language with minimal recruited muscles while he skates fast, giving him the freedom to move his stick anywhere he needs to in order to adjust a pass and get the finish. Here, Celebrini fakes to the middle and pulls the puck between his legs to the outside, utilizing what many of the older generations think is a risky show-off move, but in my opinion, this move is perfect for getting extremely close to the defender, which has numerous benefits, and having a safe escape route for the puck. And even if a perfect one-on-one move doesn't occur, the nature of the move going from the forehand side to the safe backhand position lends itself well to escape moves. And one of the patterns I've noticed while working with my clients is that when a deke is made, there's often a lag of acceleration coming out, or there is a maximum power push that gets the offensive player more off balance. Here, Celebrini makes a deceptive move in the corner, but if you can focus on taking sub-maximal strides right after a deke to regain your balance, then you'll actually escape a lot more tight battles, and let me tell you why. When a close contact battle occurs, the defender often glides and reaches, so even a half power stride will secure the separation. Think of this as the approach phase of the one-on-one, you use full power. The in-tight phase, you glide and brace for contact or handle the puck. And your first stride out of the separation is sub-maximum power to gain balance, then you go back to full speed to secure the advantage. If you want raw footage of Celebrini making moves to study on your own, I will upload it to my free community and the link is in the description to join. You can also see mini courses that I create for my pro, D1, Junior, and AAA clients. It's all free and I'll see you in there. This ability to access suboptimal force outputs consistently is required to be a top producing player, especially to adjust to passes. Look at the way Celebrini twists and gathers this saucer pass on his backhand with one hand. This is only possible when you train the right adaptations. But how do you actually improve this area of your game? It is easy to describe a quality the best players have, but what action steps should you take? And I will tell you the first step is to become self-aware of the tension your body creates with various actions such as catching a pass, giving a pass, shooting, handling, etc. This awareness of tension in your body and muscles off ice, away from distractions, will bring the unconscious state to the conscious parts, allowing you to replicate them intentionally and specifically. The hardest part about what Celebrini does with these passes is transition from state to state, meaning if you are shooting 50 pucks in a row, you are in the same state and not transitioning, so your actions will be brittle and you won't adapt when you need them. If you want a personal assessment, you can get some feedback for free in my community with the link in the description. Celebrini is able to create offense in the O-zone by treating his momentum as a valuable resource, which it is. Curling behind the net, most players would either accelerate way too fast because of how eager they are with the puck or stop and wait while tapping their stick. Through my study of all his assists, Celebrini seems to always be ahead of the play mentally, but how do you practice to do that yourself? What action steps can you take to anticipate like Celebrini? The key is to watch hockey with the sound off, pausing it right before the players in question gets the puck and ask yourself where should the first touch ideally be, and the answer should be one of two distinct options. The first option is to advance the puck because you have the open space clearly. The second option is to pull the defenders out of position. Once you determine the difference, you can then optimize for that read. This awareness will bleed into every facet of your game, and you'll be making deceptive plays like Celebrini in no time. But the problem most players have with path deception is that they overthink and try to react to their opponent's coverages. Well, any good defenders you face will purposefully give you an area to go in a way to set a trap, so if you react, you'll end up right where they want you to be. But there is a moment when the defender hasn't fully set a trap and they are watching you. This is where you send a decisive message and set the tone, which is what Celebrini does so well. Believable body language fakes held long enough will cause a defender to bite, so be like Celebrini and just commit to a fake rather than being undecided and waiting for a clear message from your opponent. The more you do this, the more often you'll end up making the perfect fakes. And how can we analyze the number one draft pick without studying his one-timer, which he finds himself finishing from quite often? And it seems like most top NHL draft picks have a good one-timer. But what comes first? The one-timer that makes a top NHL draft pick, or does being a good player give them the opportunity to take one-timers? In college, I would purposefully avoid practicing one-timers to save my sticks from the eventual cracked blade, which led me to take very few. But I do know the harder you swing when you are starting to learn a one-timer, the worse your shot will be. Since you won't be hitting the sweet spot on your blade as often, that is my number one tip to you. Don't swing your stick as hard and don't try to smash the puck. It might seem fun and tempting, but really the force and power you feel is mostly being dissipated by the ice, while the flex in your stick is doing most of the work launching the puck into the net. Think of a one-timer as fitting a stick through a doorway. You want to set the doorway to just slightly narrower than the length of your stick, allowing for the peak amount of flex. The peak amount of flex requires a lot less muscular force and relies much more on a stable, flexible rotation. The extreme cases are Ovechkin's one-timer, which does use more power, but just because you see an NHL player who can lift 500 pounds doesn't mean that is where you should start in the gym. There is a progression, and the first of many steps for a nasty one-timer is relaxed contact and finding the sweet spot consistently. And this relaxed focus on an accuracy will help your snapshot from distance very similarly to how Celebrini can pick corners from the outside and off the rush. I just love the way Celebrini finds areas of the ice to take shots in. He truly has a goal-scoring mindset, which many of you want but have no idea how to get. And I'd say the way you develop this mentality is through honing of these little details and finding consistent ways to express them in adaptable settings. The two biggest constraints you have as a hockey player developing your goal-scoring mentality is 1, the physical demands of playing an intense setting, and 2, the lack of simulated goal-scoring situations that a player gets in their practices. If you are serious about developing this goal-scoring prowess, you must seek out skill sessions that help you maximize the reps you get within the constraints of your physical limitations. You can only skate productively so often without having negative effects. If you need help finding good sources of ice, or if you are restricted by your local rink's offerings, there are strategies I can help you with to develop using visualization. If you want to get in touch, join my free community with the link in my description. Make sure you watch my last video about these top NHL one-on-one moves and how to do them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.